Hello, welcome to Pop Along RC, and today we are back talking about the Atom 3, which is the latest GT12 offering from Schumacher. I've been working on this car for a few weeks now, and I had another outing this week, and I finally got to see what these cars are really capable of. So I was back down at Milton Keynes racing the Atom 3, and do you know what? This week, again, I've made more progress. Now, I've never claimed to be the best driver in the world. I am a club racer. I'm somebody who's passionate about racing and enjoys a good race. I'm fortunate that at my club, we have got some outstanding drivers who are more than happy to help with car setup, and I've really needed some help with these cars. So a big shout out to Alex and Adam, who this week were helping me out with getting this car performing a little bit better on the track. We gave the car a bit of a once over because it was having issues, and it was a little bit twitchy, and we actually discovered that there was a screw that came loose in the front wheel, which had then meant that the spring wasn't where it should be, causing the ride height to be all over the place, and that was kind of the main contributor for the fact that I was turning smooth one way and it was snapping the other way, so the ride height was all a little bit out. So once we fixed that, we sorted out the ride height for the car, we balanced the car, we got it on the scales and made sure that it was balanced enough for club racing. I've never claimed to be the best driver in the world, but I am definitely what I would consider to be a club racer, and I have raced from the MO3s, the MTCs, the TT01s, touring cars, GT12s. I've run all different sorts of cars indoors on carpet, and I've done okay with most, but I am struggling with the GT12. I've got a load of setup gauges and bits and bobs that I use for the touring cars, and I haven't got all the kit that I need to really set up this car. So I am going to have to invest in some setup gauges so that I can be better prepared for setting up the GT12s, especially this Atom 3. So the suggestions that have been made is I should potentially try and run this car with a spool. I'm a little bit hesitant to do that because I don't think my driving's up to scratch to be running a spool just yet. I'm still learning the car, but this car is a lot more like an LMP car, and LMP cars only run spools, so it's almost as if the car has been designed to run a spool. So that is something I need to bear in mind. So at the moment we've got the geared diff. Do I run a spool? Do I go back to a ball diff? I've got to look at my options there. The car is so much more responsive than anything I've driven before, so therefore I've got to up my driving. I've got to be a better driver. I've got to have faster reflexes. I've got to be slightly more sensitive with the way that I steer. So this car is going to do great things for me as a driver, and I'm fortunate at the club that I'm at that the top three guys wouldn't be out of place at a national A final. The standard is super high, so I know that if I can get up to their level, I'm doing all right. At the moment, I'm well off the pace, but the standard of the club overall is pretty high, so I'm going to keep on with this journey. So with regards additive, I have actually changed the timings for the front wheels, but haven't found the balance yet, so I'm going to keep experimenting. I might go back to the sort of regime that I had when I was running the Atom 1, because that really did work for me. But do you know what? I'm listening to the feedback of the guys at the club and trying to work out what works best for me. So another thing that was a little bit of an issue with the car is the balance cable that went from the ESC to the motor had quite a thick plastic coating on it, which stuck up, and it was actually bending the shell because it was so high. So we've cut that off, we've wound down the sensor cable just to lower off all the cables. It has been suggested to me to rewire my ESC so that I can get the cables running a little lower. So this week there were moments where the car was starting to feel like I had it under control. It's still not set up as well as my CC when I finished with that, because this car had a lot of time and energy spent on setting this car up perfectly. So I feel that I was getting the best out of this car. There is so much more to come from the Atom 3. With the Atom 1, I felt that I needed more speed because the car was doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Whereas at the moment, I can go, the car is plenty fast enough for the handling that I've got out of this car. So I need to develop my driving so that I am as good as the car. So although I didn't have the best day of racing, I definitely made progress with this car. But what I actually enjoyed was watching Adam and Alex racing it out with their Atom 3s. This was some of the closest racing I've seen in the GT12s for a very long time. And it was literally down to one mistake and race over. Super close racing, super fun to watch. Hopefully I'll be able to get a little bit closer to them in the coming weeks as I continue with my Atom 3 journey. As I say, coming up very soon, we hopefully are going to be upgrading the electrics with this. The old electrics from this car I might put back into the CC because Mark is interested in coming GT12 racing and having a go. However, that being said, this week I'm going to take a break from the GT12 and I'm heading over to the MTC. I'm heading off to the MTC Nationals. I'm going to be running in the front wheel drive with my Carton. So really quite looking forward to that. We've also got the TTO2 here, which we've got a YouTube race coming up. So I need to get this car out on the track, test it out properly and get it set up ready for racing. Lots of stuff to enjoy.